the best podcast intro song in the world.
It never gets old, does it?
It's so good, isn't it?
Great.
Oh,
It never gets old.
I'm so glad the camera wasn't on me then, because I was dancing away then. Yeah.
What a great time.
Yeah, we are live on a Monday night. We've tried this a couple of times now, streaming, but a pre-recorded session, but we are actually live. So if you are joining us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Periscope, is Periscope a thing anymore? Am I sure?
Periscope is on there. That's how we're streaming through Twitter, yeah.
There you
Until
go,
the
then.
1st of April. Until the 1st of April, and then it goes straight onto Twitter direct. There you go.
See, I thought it
it?
was showing me age then, saying Periscope. So I'm glad you saved me there. Welcome. We are 4M1T. Happy to have you here. Glad. Thank you for joining in. We are currently recording our podcast, which goes out every single Wednesday on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, all of the good business. Feel free to drop in any comments, questions, give us some grief if we get something wrong, because, well, we most likely will do, won't we, lads?
We will.
Yeah.
I
always do.
You always do. But yeah, I just kind of want to get us started, really, boys. I guess we'll start with the biggest game of the weekend, which was the North London derby. A derby that, for me, I'm going to insult a lot of people. It's a mid-table derby these days, as far as I'm concerned. Historically, the last few years anyway, Spurs, who have finished above Arsenal, God knows how many times in a row, but seem to bottle it as soon as they go to the Emirates. And yet again, Spurs did a Spurs. So as our resident Spurs-loving man, Dale, I'm coming to you, mate.
Mate.
What on earth happened in that game?
Spurs did a Spurs. No, I think you said it there. I mean, Spurs in the league, they just don't win at Arsenal, do they? I think the last win came about 10 years ago. But I was a bit. I didn't watch the game, I'll be honest with you, but I have just quickly read up and seen some of the highlights. But for a team that has just won 5 games in a row prior to that, Spurs, I thought they might have gone into that with a bit more oomph. Let's put it that way. They look rather, should we say, negative. But Mourinho sort of away from home. That's kind of the football he does sort of play. But again, I'm in agreement with you, Danny. Mid-table sort of battle. It's not a vintage sort of North London derby, is it? I mean, usually they're sort of in and around sort of 3rd, 4th Champions League. They'd be lucky if even one of them gets in Champions League this season. But fair play to Arsenal, they got the result. Still don't think they'll finish higher than 8th this season, but yeah, that's all I've got to say on it, really, to be honest.
No, I think you're right completely. The Arsenal, full credit to them. I'll be honest, I think they had it easy. I think Michael Dawson said it very well in the pre-game. I remember one of my Spurs mates saying this. They were playing with a handbrake on. For a team that have just won 5 in a row, they've got currently the best attack in the league. And they went there and they just didn't look threatening at all. I mean, Lamella's goal... outstanding finish.
Goal of the season.
Yeah, it's got to be up there, hasn't it?
Yeah, 100%. But it is also, what is his first goal in the Premier League in like 2 years or something? Like,
It's a bit irrelevant.
Yeah, but you live off that now for the rest
It's a bit irrelevant. They didn't get anything from the game. So, I mean, as good as a goal it was, they still lost the game at the end of the day.
And
he got sent off. Yeah, it's going to be marred by his sending off and them losing the North London derby. Chris, you are back from the dead, mate. First of all, welcome.
Nice to have you back, mate.
Literally back from the dead.
Did you watch the game, and if so, have any opinions on proceedings?
I retrospectively watched the game. Spurs is just awful. Like, do you know, every single game that Spurs, or big game that Spurs have got an excellent chance of winning, they just seem to, well, they just do what Spurs do, don't they? Just bottle it. But it's a bit like, the Liverpool game they had not long ago. It's just a prime opportunity to go at Liverpool and get a win and get a result. and march on for European football, and he just seemed incapable of doing it. And if Jose doesn't win the Carling Cup or win the Europa League, he's done. Why is Daniel Levy going to keep him around? He's not achieving anything. He's dragging them further and further down, and they're starting to turn into the Spurs of, the early noughties now. They're just floating around, a few decent players, but they're just never ever going to accomplish anything.
It's mad, isn't it? It's absolutely mental. They've got 3 of the best forwards in the league. I'd argue up till Arsenal game that Bale, Son, and Kane was the best 3 in the league for the last few game weeks, especially with Bale's current return to form. And he just he makes them defend. He went there defensively. He took Bale off after 65 minutes. No, 55 minutes. He was defending for 35 minutes and then still didn't get a point out of it. Poor management from him.
You had people attacking Bale as well, saying he's not doing a job defensively. As Bale in his entire career, apart from when he played fullback, ever done a job defensively?
Oh, no.
You can't start
He
criticising
arguably
him for
didn't
that.
then when he played fullback.
Oh, yeah. Not when he first went to Spurs, he didn't.
No.
When he discovered how good he was going forward against Inter Milan.
Made the San Siro his playground.
But not to discredit Arsenal, this seems like a Spurs slating and Arsenal achieved nothing. I thought Arsenal played really well. I thought they were really unlucky to not be 3 or 4 ahead in the first half. The Cedric chance was a great hit. I thought the Smith Rowe, when he hit the bar, was an outstanding hit. I thought there was a chance where Lacazette kind of let the ball run through his body, thinking Ødegaard was right behind him when it pulled back from him. Tierney, who was my man of the match, was just a constant threat down that left-hand side. He's the only person that rivals Luke Shaw on that left-back spot as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I really rate Kieran Tierney. I forgot it. Lee. Easy to be the best forward in the league when you put away blue medal like Kane. Can you show us if Buddy Check and Gabriel would have been sent off? He was Spanish.
It was a bad challenge, that, wasn't it?
It was a bad
I've
challenge.
seen
Yeah, it was a bad challenge. And you know what? That's a problem with officiating in this league as well. That if he was Spanish, if he wasn't England's prize boy, he probably would have seen a lot more punishment. But with the referees in this country at the moment, I don't know what's a red and what's a fucking throw-in anymore.
And arguably, that Gabriel got his own back when he headed that one from, was it Sanchez? The rebound attempt where he basically just threw his head in front of it, didn't he, and stopped a certain goal. So, unlucky Kane.
What do you make of the penalty call? Because a lot of people have been debating that. Now, I think that I don't get how you can argue with it. I know he's swung and missed the ball, but he's took him out.
What's the argument for it not being a pen? Because I've heard a few people with arguments to say it wasn't a pen. So what? Because I don't understand. Can someone explain to me why people don't think it was a penalty?
I've got to admit, on initial viewing of it, I thought it wasn't a pen because he'd taken a bite at the cherry, skimmed it and missed, and then I just thought, well, you've had your chance, you've fluffed it, so you don't deserve the pen. It's like a second, benefit in a way. Then upon viewing it again, I was thinking, well, actually, if he'd have not clattered him, he might have been able to get up and have another shot. And that's why I thought after that, I was like, actually, no, that is a penalty because, like I said, he's not slow, is he? He probably could have got up and had another attempt, or at least got the ball, turned around and threaded somebody else in. And it's an attacking opportunity, and that for me is why it's a penalty.
It's the Trent Alexander one and Alexander Arnold on Dominic Calvert-Lewin one for me. The attempt to the ball is either there or also not there. Probably wasn't winning it the first time, but would have absolutely got up and scored the second time, or at least hit the target. But I think I was listening to Top's league review this morning, and they were talking about it, and Gav said it perfectly. Maybe not a penalty in most cases, but what we want to see is it continuously being a penalty because we want some sort of consistency. It's either always a penalty or never a penalty.
Yeah, consistency is the main issue, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that sort of challenge, if he's not winning the ball and he's putting off a strike like that, like if you stop a striker from getting to the ball, it's a penalty. Unless it's a legal challenge, and that for me isn't a legal challenge. It's poor.
Do you know what?
Yeah.
Go on, Lee, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, from what I'm seeing, a lot of people are going on that he's kicked the defender. So he's took a swing and he's kicked the defender and has gone down. And that's why people are saying that it was never a penalty. I mean, that annoys me as well, the polarization of it. People going out, it's never a penalty. Well, sometimes there's a penalty. Like, it's this polarization that gets me sometimes. People are saying it is definitely not in anyone's book ever a penalty. Well, it is. And that's why it's a contentious issue. So let's stop with the it's never a penalty. It's definitely a penalty. So on top of that, I just feel like you can't just clatter into someone. If it, again, the question is always, if it happens somewhere else on the pitch, is it a free kick? Yes. So I just don't get.
Do you know what the better question? Do you know what the better question is? Like, regardless of what happened, where the ball was and stuff. Say, for argument's sake, on the other side of the penalty area, Smith Rowe was on his own, and the ball was absolutely nowhere near him. Yeah, and all of a sudden, Kane comes running in and just 2 foots in for absolutely no reason, miles away from the ball, but it's in the penalty box. That's a penalty. Doesn't matter whether the ball's near you. Doesn't matter whether you got a goal scoring opportunity. If you go running into the box and clatter someone, it's a penalty. So all these Spurs fans who are coming out today and saying, well, you know, Lacazette's just making the most of it because he swiped and he missed. It doesn't matter. He was fouled in the penalty area. You got absolutely... Yeah. He just got mown over by Sanchez. There's no way it's not a penalty. Case closed. It's a foul.
There's a way to stop Lacazette making the most out of it, and that's do not slide near him and not take the ball in the penalty area.
Yeah, I don't know what you're thinking.
Players are going to go down. The one that got me the other day, and I think I tweeted about it, was in the City-Southampton game, where... Yeah, you know what topic I'm bringing up here, where Phil Foden got fouled. Let's be realistic. He got fouled, but he was honest and stayed up because he was that desperate to score. And I love seeing that. It absolutely brilliant from him. True professionalism. He's been punished though because he couldn't get up in time and he couldn't get the angle right. Referee should have brought it back and given a penalty. And it wasn't even looked at by VAR. It wasn't even considered by VAR. What is the point in it?
Stupid.
It's just terrible officiating again. And that's all we're seeing this year. It's not going right at all. And they're just doing it wrong every single time. They're getting it wrong more and more, if anything.
And this is why we argued the other week on the podcast where I said, you know what, I don't mind people diving. Because at the end of the day, you've got to now to get a penalty.
Yeah.
So
I've just become very bored of it now, to be honest. It's every weekend there's something with VAR, penalties. I've had enough. Just get rid of it. I'm not arsed. Just get rid of it.
It does feel like it's killing the game a bit, doesn't it?
It really is. It's spoiling the game. It's really making the game worse. But yeah, I think I saw. I don't know if one of you put it in the group chat, but there was something I seen. Imagine if we had VAR for that, Aguero moment.
Yeah.
If we had that moment and VAR spent, 10, 15, 30 seconds, checking that goal, you won't get sort of the atmosphere they would have got there again. But it really is spoiling the game for me. I'm just not interested in it at all now. So they can just get rid of it in my eyes.
Sorry, lads, I'm just watching the half-time of the Liverpool game. How
I know what you're going to say.
Not got a penalty?
Yeah, I was
that
just about
insane.
to say the same
What
thing.
on earth is that?
I'm pretty sure
the goalkeeper takes him out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Alisson starts slapping the ground as well because he thinks in his head, shit, he's giving away a penalty.
Insane.
I couldn't tell that part of the conversation any better, could I? You just see the highlights there, and I've just had enough of it.
Just finishing off on the derby, and the very hot, interesting topic was the omission of Aubameyang.
Yeah.
Now, it came out at pre-match that it was disciplinary reasons and was later apparently leaked that he turned up late again. and he's got a history
Yeah.
of doing this now. As club captain, I think this could have been very easy for Arteta just to overlook and been like, you know what, punish you during the week, punish you in training, you'll get a fine, but you're the club captain, you're going to start, we need you. But especially on Derby Day. But Arteta's had the balls, and fair play to him. You've got fucking club rules, and you've broken them. I don't care who you are not playing. And that makes the win even more impressive for me. Because I know Aubameyang's not been firing this season, but he's still Pierre. Fucking hell, we're just you there.
Don't fall into my trap.
Yeah, he's still Aubameyang. He's still one of the best finishers in the world.
He's been scoring recently.
He's getting better.
Yeah,
back to normal form. He's still the club captain, and they've dropped him. I mean, I don't know about you, where you boys sit on this. I think he did the right thing. I think if you're late and you're breaking club rules, you've fucking
100%. Like, what else can you do? You've got to set an example to the rest of the squad, and if you don't punish Aubameyang in that scenario, especially if he's doing it consistently. I mean, we don't know 100% what's going on, but if he's doing it consistently, the best thing for me was the pictures that came out of it afterwards, where he's literally sat in his very expensive
in a Ferrari.
In the middle of London traffic. Like, I think there's like a Vauxhall Corsa in front of him and a Ford Mondeo behind him or something like that, and he's just sat there trying to get to the game, which I thought was, there's nothing more British than that, is it?
Should have got the tube, mate.
I have to say, like, no player is ever bigger than the club. Alex Ferguson was brilliant at it. When Beckham got a bit too big for his boots, and then he threw a boot at him, he was gone. Alex Ferguson didn't ever allow somebody's ego to get too big, and never allowed them to think that they were bigger than the club. If they got that way, they were gone.
Yeah,
and that, that was what made him great as a manager. That, amongst many other things, but that was one of the aspects of Alex Ferguson that made him a brilliant manager, because he kept people's feet on the ground, and if they didn't stay that way because of themselves and because of their ego, that's it. Sorry, you've had your chance. Man United's the biggest club in the world.
It's my argument with Lionel Messi in Barcelona.
Yeah,
as good as Lionel Messi is, not one single player is bigger than a football club. So the way he's got like dictatorship in the presidentials, by the sounds of things, it just doesn't sit right with me, annoyingly. But we've spoke about Messi enough in the last couple of weeks, and he's going to get brought up again later when we go dip into Europe a little bit. I want to move us just down the road, boys, to Sheffield, and already pre-relegated Sheffield United, in my opinion, made the most dumbfound decision I've ever fucking seen in sacking the best manager they've ever had.
Yep.
Can anyone please explain to me why?
I think the only real explanation as to why they've done this at the time that they've done it is, when you think about it, they're not fighting for survival, because it's just never going to happen. So you've got to think, well, they're preparing now for next season. They're preparing for a run in the Championship, because they know that that's where they're going to be next year. So if anything, it's kind of a beneficial situation for them, because they can get a head start now over the rest of the Championship teams, apart from maybe the mid-table ones. So they will be thinking, do you know what, right? You've obviously taken us as far as you can get us, Wilder. Thank you very much for your services, but we want to bed in a new manager now, to give them a good chunk of time with the current set of players now for the rest of this season. Have it as like an extended pre-season. Go away, enjoy the summer with them, get the lads together, and get the manager really in tuned with the rest of the team over the summer break. Come back hit the ground running, ready for the Championship season. That's the only reason it could be. Either that, or they've tried to restructure the club and he's gone, nah, I'm not having it, see you later. Which I can't imagine him turning down.
I was thinking it could have been like a pay structure thing, or because I can't imagine Sheffield have got too much cash. You know, they've spent big this season and it's backfired.
Yeah.
So maybe they're cutting his wages off the bat. I don't know how much money fucking Chris Wilder was earning. I don't think anyone will know.
I think there's been a bit of politics,
Potentially.
Go on, Danny.
But sorry, yeah, I don't understand because they went to Leicester and got twatted. And we were just saying off air, like, it was 5-0. It could have been 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Like, if Leicester were really, really on it, it could have been 7 or 8. So, in my mind, I'm going to use Norwich as the example here. Daniel Farke and Norwich absolutely shit the bed last season. They came up after one of the best seasons we've seen for a long time from a championship club. They came up and they shit the bed and went straight back down again. But Norwich were like, you know what? You've got us up there once. We're going to put faith in you to bring us back up again. And they're now top of the championship. They are going to come up. I think that's pretty much settled. That they're probably taking that top spot.
Yeah.
And he will learn from that experience. He will have learned what went wrong in that first season. He'll know, because they didn't sign enough players. I think that was evident with Norwich, where Sheffield... No, who came up with Norwich? Was Aston Villa, won it. Aston Villa bought loads, and it almost backfired for them. But it wasn't until we realised that Hawkeye wasn't turned on. Otherwise, Villa would have been down as well.
I still can't get my head around that.
I know, yeah. Norwich spent nothing and went down. I think they'll come up this season, and we'll see them actually spend. They're going to keep some of the key players. All of the key players are a year more experienced. You like Max Aarons, Buendia, Todd Cantwell. They've gone down and learnt the game again and come back up. And I reckon when Norwich come up next season, I think they'll be fine. But to me, getting rid of Chris Wilder, a manager that knows how to get a team from fucking League One to the Premiership, never mind from the Championship, to bring in who? Jason Tindall, who got sacked by Bournemouth.
Tim Frost there, he's made a good point about the squad rotation, but I think the other side of the coin with that is Sheffield United have had some injuries this season. We forget that, and I know a lot of the teams have had injuries and stuff, but their whole system last season that was so successful for them, that they lost half of the personnel that made that work. And then you've hit the nail on the head there, Danny. Poor recruitment. What's the name of the lad? I always forget his name. The lad they bought, the striker. Brewster, yeah. It's just not worked. I mean, he's a good player, but it's just not worked out for him.
He's fucking not a good player. I'm sorry. He's a championship striker at best, and
maybe. Yeah, maybe. I mean, he played well for Swansea. We've seen him play well for one club, really, and show some promise, and that was Swansea. And you're right, it wasn't a championship. And I don't know, the jury's out whether he'd perform for another Premier League team if they played a bit more of an expansive style, maybe. But I was just saying then, when I rudely interrupted you, mate, sorry. I think it might be politics as well, because the rumours were that the board had turned around to him and said, we want to make you head coach, and we want to so he's manager at the moment, because Chris Wilder was manager. We want to make you head coach, and we want to get some other personnel in and restructure the club and stuff.
Yeah. And
apparently Wilder's seen his ass properly with that, and then he's kind of gone at the board in the media, which I don't agree with. I think you should just do things behind closed doors. Managers are very quick to criticise players for coming out in the media and criticising the manager, but then they seem to think sometimes that it's all right to come out and criticise the board. But it's one and the same. It's 6 of one and a half dozen of the other for me. And I don't know if maybe that's the reason why Wilder's just thought, I'm going to leave. I just can't be arsed, and he's done one.
I think sometimes as a manager, I've seen it a few times, and Jose does it a lot. I think sometimes you need to go out in the press to make a statement, because going behind closed doors, nothing happens. I think sometimes you need that pressure on the higher ups. But then they are also the ones that make the decisions, and ultimately they're the ones whether you have a job next Monday morning or not. So I don't know. Dale, what do you reckon? Do you reckon they're going to pull a Norwich, or are we going to start seeing a Blackburn Rovers style situation where they just start slipping down and down?
Yeah, I think that's the way I see it. I think once they go down, we all know how difficult it is to get out of the Championship in the first place. Yep. It's a tough league. They spent a fair bit of money on Brewster, didn't they? 20 million or whatever it was. That's not really worked out. So that you could argue that's it's kind of been a bit of a waste of money. Whether they keep him for the Championship, because that's where he performed well last season at Swansea.
Yeah, he might do well there.
Yeah, if they can keep hold of him, and I think I said it when he first signed. I just thought he went to the wrong club. Sheffield United, it didn't really play the football that I thought he would have been suited to. You know, he did well at Swansea, and I feel Swansea played a completely different game to Sheffield United. But if he stays there in the Championship, he might prove us wrong, and he might bag a few goals and try and get them back into the Premier League again. But I just can't see it though, to be honest. And I do think it has been a mixture of things. Yeah, they have had a lot of injuries this season. I think last season they did predominantly play with pretty much the same 11 sort of week in, week out, and it served them well, last season. But I think it's just caught up with them, and this season. But I have read something along the lines with what Chris has said as well about the owner wanting this, that, and the other, and a couple of disagreements and stuff. But it is what it is now, unfortunately, for Wilder and for them. They just got to look forward to next season, build for next season, and see what they can do. But I do worry a little bit for them, to be honest.
They've just got to earn enough points to finish above Leeds this season, and then next season the Championship, they can enjoy themselves. Come back.
What? Oh, imagine. One thing I think they didn't do, and I think we wanted to talk about this as well, was they didn't dip into the loan market.
No.
Which I think is a massive help for a lot of clubs. We've seen it with the best example this season is probably Jesse Lingard. And West Ham were having a great season before. He said when Jesse came in, they started having a great season. And judging off the game last night, I feel like if Jesse was allowed to play, they would have fucking caused us some serious issues. Like, they were only missing that one player. When they brought on Ben Rama and Lanzini, all of a sudden West Ham were on it. And if they'd had Jesse Lingard from the start, for example, which I've always wondered this myself. And Chris, you put it in the group chat earlier, and I was thinking about it today while I was in work. I don't understand why loan players can't play against parent clubs. I don't.
Gallo did it earlier this week, didn't he? For Milan,
yeah,
and we let that happen, but we didn't let it happen with Lingard. So it makes you wonder why it's okay for some clubs but not for others.
Well, I think Dallo's was
put into the contract, isn't it?
Yeah, for my knowledge of it is very limited to Football Manager. Of you can choose whether you're allowed to or not, and it tends to be most of the time if it's domestic, it's not allowed, but if it's European, then it's allowed. Because what are the chances that you fucking draw your home club in a European tournament? It just so happens that we've drawn AC Milan.
It's so they're protected from being said to be played bias. Imagine if Lingard had played and he'd had an absolutely terrible game. It's to protect him as well, really. It's sometimes the players want it in their contract and say, look, I don't want to play against my home club. I don't want to get battered on social media if I play badly. And for some reason, people start coming at me saying that I've played badly on purpose because it's against my club that's essentially paying my wages, that will essentially have a contract with next year, especially when it comes to the fact that loan players a lot of the time are taken on by lower clubs in the league, clubs that can't necessarily afford to buy players. They're the ones that are more likely in the long run to take players on loan. So essentially those players could end up playing against their home club in a relegation battle, or last game of the season, say hypothetically West Ham are going to go down and they're playing, I don't know, Brighton, and then last kick of the game, no, that's a bad example, isn't it? Say Lingard's on loan from Brighton, for example, and then last kick of the game, he skies it over the bar, and Brighton stay up, and West Ham go down, and then everyone looking at Lingard like, did you do that on purpose so that you'll be playing in the Premier League next year? Because you're safe, you're a loan player, so you'll be going back anyway. That's the reason why I think if you're not owned by a club, then you shouldn't really be playing against your parent club. I don't think, anyway.
I think, I agree with that. And then maybe this is the competitive nature inside me, But I would think if I was on loan from a club and I could play against them, I would make that my best game of the fucking season to prove a point of, like, this is what you've got rid of. I don't know, Josh, what you reckon?
I reckon that would have been the case with Lingard last night. He's been out of sorts at United. You know, it's a team that he loves, a team that he's been at for years since his youth, isn't it? I'm sure if he played last night, he would have gone 100%. He would have wanted to have scored an equaliser, a winner, whatever. But he would have been trying to prove to Solskjaer, I need to be part of your plans. If I'd have been part of your plans this year, I might have been pushing for England. That's what a player's got to be aspiring for. You know, with the European Championships coming up, you've got to be thinking about England. He's been in the England squad before. He knows he's capable of it. So, if I was him, like you, Danny, I'd have put it in last night and I'd have made it the best game of the season for me. He's had some cracking games recently as well. We said it in previous podcasts. He slotted beautifully into that West Ham team. I'm sure Moyes thinks it's a great bit of loan acquisition. I'm sure he's patting himself on the back about that one.
He wants to stay there, apparently.
Yeah, Moyes wants him to stay, don't he? Moyes wants to make it permanent.
I can't blame him. He'd think, you know, if he can carry on this form, why not? He'd be one of the first names on the team sheet every week.
Yeah.
Well, what they could do is maybe work out a little swap deal with that little cheeky video we saw at the end of the game with Harry Maguire and Ole Solskjaer tapping up Declan Rice.
Yeah.
Which, after what came out with Solskjaer trying to tap up Nathan Ake at the back end of last season, saying, we need a left-sided centre-back, it won't fucking surprise me.
That went well. Where is Nathan Ake, by the way?
Still injured,
Where is he?
Still injured. Poor kid.
I'm having it. I don't even think I've seen him play a game for City. I think he's messed up in training. I think he said something about Stones, and I think Pep's just killed him. I think he's killed him and buried him somewhere. You don't even see him on the bench. You don't even see him in the stands or anything. Like, there's not even anyone who looks like him who's got a mask on where you think, that might be Nathan Ake sat there watching the game.
It might be Nathan Ake.
It's a bit weird, isn't it?
It could be a dry mop.
Could be Sideshow Bob.
Moving back then, I said his name there earlier. Rumours come out today that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is in talks or is about to be offered a new contract. Now, I'll take a lead on this one because I fucking yo-yo with this cunt all the time. Yes, do I think he deserves one? Probably. Would I still take anyone else if there was anyone else available? Yes, probably. It's a weird one for me, Ole Solskjaer. I think what he's done is definite clear progression. We are the second best team in England. I still question a lot of his substitutions. I still question a lot of his team selections. He's still growing as a manager, though. He's still, in theory, was thrown in at the deep end. I still forget that he was only supposed to be a caretaker. He was only supposed to have a job for 3 months, and then someone else was going to come in. And he just seems to back himself and just win when it matters. I mean, the Derby win was fucking brilliant, but then since then again, it's been so boring and negative. Like the Milan game was dreadful. I called it on Twitter as soon as we made them defensive changes. I knew we'd concede. Yeah, I don't care if it was a goalkeeping error. Yes, I don't care if it was 4 defenders looking at it. We had 5 defenders and 3 holding midfielders on the pitch at one time, and we couldn't stop Milan from getting a corner. We shouldn't be under that pressure, and we invited it on ourselves. And that is on Ole, unfortunately. Individual error or not, he's the one that made them changes. So he's got a patchy record with me as far as I'm concerned, but we are moving forward. Maybe not as fast as I want to, and I think that's maybe the problem. But we are moving forward. So, congrats, I guess. Enjoy your new
I'm going to...
Go on, Lee.
Sorry, go on. I was just going to say, I'm going to stick up for him a little bit, which I never thought I would do, because I was very much Ollie out for a bit. And that's largely because of the reasons you were saying. I think he gets a lot of his tactics wrong quite often. He does make the wrong subs. He does start the wrong players. Like Matic hasn't been great recently, and he's been getting in ahead of McTominay a few times when McTominay's probably been one of our better midfield performers. But that's just one out of many. Waiting too late to make substitutions and stuff. But I think if you look at where Manchester United are at the moment, our win against West Ham last night essentially guaranteed us top 4. Like, we're 9 points clear of West Ham in 5th now. So we really are kind of there or thereabouts in terms of the objective for this season. Like, because we win at the start of the season, we were never sort of expected to win the league or challenge for the title. City are what? 14 points clear now. So that's gone. The next best thing you can do behind a City team that are incredible this year is finish second, finish behind them, be the first of the rest. So we're doing that as it stands. If you look at Milan, a lot of people are billing Manchester United versus Milan in the Europa League as being a should-have-been Champions League game because of their positions in their respective leagues. Does it surprise me that Milan scored? No. If you told me before the game it would end 1-1 after the first 80 minutes, maybe 75 minutes of the performance, doesn't surprise me. So I guess it comes down to it. We're on the verge, possibly, depending on Thursday's result, of getting into a Europa League quarter-final. We're in the FA Cup. Is it the last 16, round of 16 against Leicester next weekend? And we're also looking at potentially going into the last few games of the season with top 4 already confirmed. So if you think about all of those aspects, I think he probably is deserving. And could he get things right sometimes? Yeah, probably. But I think that we give him more time to get through those sorts of issues and learn from the people around him, especially with the new structure being put in place with Fletcher being made the technical director and the other guy, I can't remember his name, being made football director. Things could start looking up a little bit, and the transfers taken out of the hands of Ed Woodward, that's a big one for sure. I think that with giving him more...
He's gone. Just a reminder, guys, we are live. This kind of stuff happens on live television.
Who cut you off? Who had enough of it?
Lee got to a point and he just thought, I can't do it. I literally can't. I can't talk about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer anymore.
I heard enough of him talking about Solskjaer, and I was like,
get chinned. Get absolutely chinned.
Get absolutely out. Here he is.
Chat shit, get banged.
You can't hear us, mate. You can't hear us.
Chat shit, get kicked.
Look at how confused he is. John Hartson.
Do you know what? You know what? Like, Lee's just made some great points there. The progression is there. Chris, you've been mad on Ollie in. We've clashed a lot over the last probably about a year now, where I've been very Ollie in and you've been very Ollie out, and you've been Ollie in. I know the answer to this question, but I guess you're happy.
Listen, you've got to look at it in black and white. You've got to call it a spade. And Lee said it perfectly. At the start of the season, we had an awful transfer window, and no one was expecting us to. We all thought we'd drop out of the top 4, and we haven't. And we've last season it took until the final day for us to confirm 3rd. We could have finished 5th, and we've pretty much done it now with a handful of games to spare. We're still in the cup. We're still in the Europa League. Things.
Oh, sorry. Can I just pause you there? Is anyone watching that Wolves game and see that massive scar unroll Jimenez's head?
Yeah, that
was.
And apparently he started training again, which, come on, mate, retire.
I can say I writ him off. I was certain he's finished.
Yeah,
sorry,
I don't.
Yeah, sorry, I thought I completely off there.
No, it's all right. I wouldn't want to see Jimenez come back. He's a great striker, but after an injury like that, your life's more important, mate. We weren't expecting much, but as far as United are concerned, we're still in 2 cups. We've confirmed Champions League pretty much. We've give City. I mean, we've not pushed them all the way, but we've give everyone a good run for the title. it's progression. And we always knew that this was going to be a bit of an interim season. Next season's going to be the big one for Ollie, because originally that was when his contract expired. And that'll be the one where the board's looking at him and saying, right, this one now, 21-22, we have to see you really push for the title. So next one's going to be the big one for me. We've progressed this season. We've put ourselves in a really good position to go into the transfer market this summer and push on. A little bit like, I know to change the script for a second, but a little bit like I always draw parallels between us and Everton. We've got to, because we've got an Evertonian amongst us. But Everton have done a similar thing this season. No one expected them to do as well as they've done. You'll probably get top six the way things are going with your results and stuff. And then you've got a really, really good foundation to push on to where you want to be. We're kind of in a similar situation where we're rebuilding towards where we used to be. And we've made a really positive step forward this season, as far as I'm concerned anyway. Yeah. I don't know I think I'm probably in between where you are, Danny, and where Lee is, somewhere in the middle. I don't know where Dale and Josh sit. Josh is an outsider and Dale as a fellow Manc.
Yeah. Just to comment on that, the difference is where we were at the top of the table all them years ago, the league is completely different now.
Yeah.
Like there are way better teams than what we were competing against when we were winning titles. So we're not only having to catch up on our previous selves, we're now catching up on Liverpool. Because Liverpool, this is an off-season, let's be honest. They will most likely be back next season. But we are also catching up on City. But Dale, what are you reckoning? New contract for Ollie, good or bad thing?
Probably on the balance of things, he's probably earned it. To be fair, we're currently second in the league. We're still, like you guys have already said, we're still, as things stand, we're still in the Europa League, still in the FA Cup. We have improved from last season. I'm in agreement with you, Danny. I do want the improvement a bit quicker, but we have improved. I'm still. Some games in his management, I'm still a bit up in the air with that. I mean, the West Ham one yesterday was one of them for me. I think he got it all wrong. Yeah. But like I say, on the balance of things, he probably has earned a new contract. And an agreement with Chris next season is probably the big one. If we can get a couple of signings in the positions that we look like we need them in, a centre back or two for starters.
Yeah.
Then hopefully we can sort of maybe push a bit longer on the title run. I mean, we were there or thereabouts till January, and then City have just sort of ran away with it. But yeah, on the balance of things, he has. Yeah, in my eyes, he's probably earned it.
Yeah, I think I agree. The window is going to be huge for him, and it will be whether he is backed, because I'm pretty certain, and I have good faith that he knows who he wants. Other than Maguire, I do trust his transfer policy.
Yeah.
I think he's got most of them right. Even Cavani. Like, Cavani was definitely a panic, but I think it was a good panic signing. There was way worse players that we could have got, like Mario Mandzukic was linked at one point. Fucking hell, that would have been a disaster.
Yeah,
but
it would.
Probably.
We were lucky and we got Cavani, who, whether he stays or not for another season, whether his dad keeps his gob shut or not, God knows. But yeah, I do back him to know who he wants and go and get the right players for the right positions. It's going to be a real test for, like you said, Matt Judge, who's the new negotiator, isn't he?
Yeah.
Whoever the new technical director is, I really can't remember his name, and Darren Fletcher. Now, the pressure is on them because we've finally appointed them roles. So I get the feeling that we'll have a big window, because if we appoint them and then we do fuck all,
people won't be happy.
What was the point in appointing them in the first place?
Yeah.
So all eyes are going to be on them this summer. So, yeah, Sancho and Haaland incoming, boys.
I mean, I'll just quickly, just before we move on, I'd like them, or like him, to possibly get a signing or two on sort of the wings. Something a bit different to James and Rashford. Bit more of like a Bruno, but on the wings. Let's put it that way. Because I don't know about you guys yesterday. I just thought it was screaming out for not necessarily the pace that we had on the wings, but more of the creativity. You know, you look at Bruno all game. He was moving. He was constantly on the move, coming to the ball, dishing it out wide. You know, trying to get in the pockets. We probably lacked probably another 2 or 3 players similar to that in those forward lines. Constantly moving, constantly trying to create this space, because you know what West Ham were doing with just 2 banks in front of the keeper. So I'd like to see sort of maybe a different sort of player or 2 on the wings as a different option for those sort of games, especially against the teams lower down the table. You've seen it against Palace again the other week. It was pretty much the same game. Dan James, Rashford were on the wings, and it just wasn't made for them. Those games. It was screaming out for someone a bit more sort of creative, a bit more sort of passive. Like a Juan Mata. Lingard probably would have been a good fit there as well for that game. You know, or a Juan Mata. But you know, again, it goes to Ollie and his sort of decision making. You know,
I do like the look of that Benrahma that West Ham brought on yesterday. I liked him in the Championship last season, and I thought he would have been
a good player.
A little gamble, really. You know, he's not the quickest, but his ability to beat a man is up there.
Jared Bowen's the best for West Ham for that. He's unreal, Jared Bowen.
Jared Bowen.
He's really good.
Coutinho was the same when he was at Liverpool. You know, you're not looking for the pure pace. You're looking for just something to unlock the door. Because you're right, like James and Rashford is not skill. It's run until the door breaks open. And I'm one of Dan James's biggest advocates. I think he's been excellent these last few games. I think he's been really, really good, but he doesn't have a second option. No. If he can't get him behind, he's pretty ineffective apart from his defensive work. So it's an interesting one. Comment there from the Total Screamers podcast, who also do a fantastic podcast, lads. Give them a listen. Great pods, lads. Ollie's obviously done an okay job, but is he the man to manage a Premier League winning side? Was Claudio Ranieri the man to win a Premier League winning side?
Well, Ian.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter without the name. It's the team and how you get there. I get exactly what he's saying, but you know, at the end of the day, some of the weirdest managers have won a league before. I didn't think Mancini would have been the one that gets City that first title. I don't think any of us thought that Ranieri would win the title with Leicester. Everyone wrote Fergie off after 5 seasons and became the best manager of all time. So that's where I stand on that person. I don't know if I've been too blunt with saying that, but for me, a manager's name or who they are as a person is irrelevant. It's how they manage a team, and obviously you need some luck as well. Liverpool had a lot of luck last season. Yes, they deserve to win the title, but they did get a lot of luck going there. They've had their luck against them this season, and look where they are now.
That one there from Tim. Would you take Ronaldo back for a season or 2 for that option room to be available for 24 million? It's been and gone. All right, we've done Ronaldo. He's been with the club.
Well, he is. Have you been on Twitter today and looked at the fucking rumours of him flying around going back to Madrid?
He'll go to Madrid.
I've seen that.
He's available. Yeah. He is available in the summer. We said this the other week, didn't we, about Juventus, about them maybe not being able to afford him anymore?
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff like that going on at Italian clubs at the minute. There's a lot of clubs in financial difficulty, especially into Milan. But I know that's because of the links to the Chinese company and club that's gone bust. Which is mad, like considering the effect that it could have on the wider European game. One company in China going bust, and now that means, there are pure revolving doors going around Europe this summer as a result, because players like Lukaku and Skriniar, some of their best players at Inter. Exactly, precisely him. I know Barcelona wanted him, but Barcelona have got no money. They want to sell Coutinho, apparently, so that they can pay Liverpool the 50 million that they still owe him. Yeah, it's shocking.
They're a banter club, aren't they, Barcelona? Well, before we move on to Stick of the Week, boys, there is one club that we haven't touched upon, and there's just one member in this call that isn't going to be happy that I'm going to bring them up. To quote one Gav Mark, Josh, what are Everton? I don't get it. Yeah, I mean, like for me, and you were wank yesterday.
Yep.
Oh, Saturday whenever you played, you were wank. Burnley were brilliant. We saw a different Burnley on that game that we've not seen for years. They played football. That Dwight McNeil goal, I think I tweeted the other day, if Mo Salah scores that, everyone's claiming that's Ballon d'Or and fucking Puskas winner.
Yeah,
What a goal that is. But you were shit.
Yeah, we were poor, and Burnley were class. Burnley were the best I've seen them all season.
Yeah,
that was, for me, that was their best performance this year. And I know the second goal was excellent to send Alan for a cornetto and then to bend it in the top corner. Yeah, I mean, who does that? To me, Alan's not fit. He's not fully right to let somebody do that to him. I'm not trying to take anything off the goal, but he's obviously been rushed back into the team post injury because before his injury, he wasn't allowing anybody to do that to him. I don't know if that's just because the skill to do it was just so good, or whether he's just not fit. But personally, I'm going to be biased and say I just don't think he's fit, and we're rushing him back in because we've not got Decore, and Decore and Allen are like the spine of our midfield, aren't they?
Yep.
So I think we've rushed him back in. He's not quite 100% fit. The goal was excellent, though, and Woods' goal was excellent, capitalising on mistakes. We were dreadful. They could have had more, to be honest.
Yeah, they could have done quite easily. That second half, I thought you were quite lucky to be still in the game. Yeah. Thought, is it Vitinha, the sub goalkeeper?
Virginia,
sorry, yeah. He put him a lot of, and Burnley knew that was going to be the case. You know, they saw that they brought on this young and experienced keeper. Let's fucking throw the ball at him and see what happens. But I thought for the first 45 minutes, we saw a completely different Burnley side. And if they played like that more, you know, they wouldn't be scrapping it like this season.
But they're not gonna. They only play like that against Everton and United.
Yeah, and City.
Yeah, there is that.
Majorly disappointing as an Evertonian to watch your team spend hundreds of millions of pounds on poor players over the last 3 seasons, and obviously the investments, the recruitment's been wrong. We know that it's well publicised. Everton's recruitment policy has been wrong. We've got a couple of good ones, but for the most part, it's been bad. And then you've got a Burnley side with a team total of about 50 million, and Woods is probably worth about 15 of that. And Tarkovsky is probably worth 20 of it, you know. Yeah. And Pope's worth the rest, and all of the others are free. I worry about that. That we know they've got a good defence. We don't expect them to score goals, and they put 2 past us, and they could have had more. They hit the post. That's worrying for me. Very worrying that our defence can't cope with a team that don't score regularly. Certainly don't score 2 in a game that often. So it's a big summer for Everton Football Club. I hope we might cling on to a top 6 position, but if we don't, is it such a bad thing? Because we're not ready for it. We're probably not going to go on to win a European competition, are we? So, I mean, it's highly likely we wouldn't. Is it just more games for us to cope with when we're still trying to build a squad? Have we got the squad depth there? Even if we bring some faces in, we're going to get rid of some, I hope. So it's going to be a very much in and out, like you said, rotating door this summer for Everton Football Club. Carlo's going to be bringing in, hopefully, some much better players of a higher calibre, which he did a good job with at the start of the season, but he didn't get that. I don't think he got that long with COVID and things like that. Not many clubs did they? And people didn't want to invest, I don't think. So,
yeah, I think it's one of those weird situations for Everton where they are stuck between a rock and a hard place in that they want the players that will take them to the next level with the Champions League because without them they're not ready. But then they need to have the Champions League football in order to attract more of those players. So you're kind of in a tough position at the minute. And I think that you'll be saved, though, if James stays around and if you end up with the influence continuing of Ancelotti himself pulling signings in. It could be a massive, massive summer for Everton. And then you go on the charge for top 4 next year. The problem is, though, it feels like everyone's going to be doing it this summer, aren't they? West Ham have given themselves a platform to build from. Even teams like Villa, as mad as that sounds, Leicester, United, Chelsea, Liverpool coming back, Spurs and Arsenal needing to try and catch up with everyone. It's going to be a mad summer this year, I think. And the Premier League will always have that pull for players, and that'll play a big part as well, especially if there are a lot of teams in Europe who need to shed some players' wages. Could we see Lionel Messi over on the British shores? It's looking more and more likely he's going to stay at Barca, doesn't it? But at the same time, there's no reason why he couldn't end up at Man City, and that would be like a cheat code for them. So, yeah, it's going to be a big summer.
Don't do it.
Just one thing I want to add on Everton there was if you don't make it to Europe this season, how much blame lies on your home form? Because I'm just looking at the home form this season, and it's been a bit naff to put it. I mean,
yeah,
17 points from 14 games, at home this season. Pick up 5 or 6 more points there, and you're sitting in the top 4. You've had, the Burnley result there over the weekend. I mean, your away form is brilliant, but your home game should be sort of your bread and butter, really, shouldn't you? Should be getting as many points there as you can. But yeah, if for me, if Everton didn't make it, I'd probably stick it on the home form this season. It's not been sort of up to scratch. But then again, just missing out on Europe, would that be a better thing? Would less games for next season, recovery and stuff like that. But
it's going to be one for a lot of people home form, isn't it?
I was that's probably the reason why we're not challenging for the title is because of our home form.
Leicester, again, is that for the lack of crowds as well? Is that?
I think it has to be. It has. There's got to be some correlation there, hasn't it? Like for Everton, especially, Goodison Park was a fortress for us. That's where notoriously we would get most of our points.
Cool. Liverpool fan on the phone says everything's gone wrong because of no fans. It's all the fans' fault because they've tried to blame their whole season on it, haven't they? They've tried to say that's a new one for them now. That they
remember, lads, they're still unbeaten at home with fans.
Yeah, 12th man and all that. It's an interesting one, isn't it? I think a happy medium for Everton would be Europa League because then you've got Europe to entice a better standard of player over to improve the squad. But the games aren't so bad. I mean, you don't exactly need a strong squad for the groups, do you, to go away and play Dynamo fucking Radiator or something like that in the Ukrainian 4th League. So
I was going to say that, like, to me, if I was an Everton fan now, anything less than Europa League is a disappointing season. And you have got the squad to manage Europa League. And with getting Europa League comes new players. With new players comes more opportunity. With more opportunity becomes new players. Becomes better Premier League finishes. Becomes potential European Championships. Like, you need one to go with the other. It's very rare you see teams not get European football without getting top players, nor do you get top players without getting European football. Like, you need them both together. And I think Everton they're just there. They're just so close to bridging that gap. And I think you need a season or two in the Europa League to attract just that better standard of player to then get there. I mean, no disrespect to him, but Coleman's done. Coleman's past it. You need to go and find a new right back. You tried it with Sidibe last season. It didn't work. So you've got to go and dip in again. You've got a few players like Davis, Iwobi, Dinho when he's out, I think you struggle. You need fucking 4 new goalkeepers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I don't think you get them without not getting Europe. I think if you don't get Europe, that's where you start losing some of your players. I could see James move on. If you don't get Europe for 2 seasons, I could see Richarlison maybe move on. You know, Richarlison could be a very good prospect for a lot of what I would consider Europa League teams like Ajax, AC Milan. I could see him settling very well at AC Milan, actually. And I think European football would tempt him because he's good enough. He's more than good enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, interesting one. Shall we move into everyone's favourite segment, lads?
Should we play it?
Go on, man.
Go on. Get that.
Cue the video.
Yeah. You know what? Under 18s, yeah, we're fair on you. No, it's just not something you do. No. Just not that week. Here we go. Oh, dickhead of the week.
Dickhead of the week.
That's excellent, isn't it?
I love it.
Real.
Here we go. Oh.
Here we fucking
Here
go.
we
Everyone's favourite
go.
segment. Those that are joining us live and you are unawares of what this is, we are all going to shout out dickheads who've done something stupid in the footballing world for the last 7 days, and Dale is going to decide and award the prestigious Dickhead of the Week award. So does anyone have any nominations? Would you like
first?
I was going to say, I've got one as well, and I think you've got one, Dale, so go for it, mate.
I'm gonna put forward Eric Lamela, purely for the fact that he was. Oh well, you know, we've seen the goal that he scored. Unbelievable, but you're losing the game 2-1, and you know it's one of them. You need to be on the pitch. You need to stay on the pitch, fella. Try and get your team back in the game. It's a North London derby. You can't lose to your rivals, can you? You just cannot lose to your rivals. You need to be on the pitch, affect the result, and he did affect the result. He got himself sent off. So, in my eyes, that was clearly my dickhead of the week, Eric Lamela.
Yeah, fantastic that.
Nice.
Mine similarly is another red card that didn't affect the result per se, but also brought out an interesting stat towards the end. Mine's a Mehdi Tameri for Porto against Juventus in the Champions League, just gone, who got booked in the 52nd minute and then stupidly levered the ball, what he was trying to do outside of the stadium, in the 54th minute, claiming he never heard the whistle go in an empty stadium. No. You've gone to Turin, right? You've got a goal. You are they were 3-1 up on aggregate at that point. You've gone 2-1 down, 1-1, 3-2 on aggregate, and you got sent off in a matter of 2 minutes. That could have cost you the biggest result you've had for years and years. Now, thankfully, Juve forgot to turn up and Pepe didn't forget to turn up, because Pepe, oh my God, I don't think I've seen a better defender like that in years.
Unreal.
Like, absolutely phenomenal work from Pepe. Fair play. Porto got through, but Tameri could have cost them everything. But what he didn't cost them is the most interesting stat I've ever seen, because that game, or that tie in total, both Porto won, drew, and lost all in the same row. They lost 3-2 on the night. They drew on aggregate. They went through on away goals.
Explain
I
that one.
I love shit like that, mate. Brilliant.
Explain that one.
Agreeing with you, Danny, that was going to be mine. In what world you can claim you didn't hear the whistle in an empty stadium? I mean, are you selling us all on here, mate? Like, what are you playing at? So yeah, I'm just not having it. It's one of the most stupid ways of picking up a yellow card. Anyway, that and time wasting. I just don't get it. Time wasting even then is even more understandable. But that and taking your shirt off when you score a goal, unless you're displaying something like somebody's passed away and your tribute to them or something, then fine. But those players that do like rip the shirt off and like, well, that's a yellow card. And I've seen people do that and miss the next game as a result. So to then leather the ball away and get a yellow card for it, it is probably the fact that he's claimed he didn't hear the referee in an empty stadium. Like, that's the worst bit of it. Behave.
If do you remember when Van Persie did it in the Nou Camp and got sent off?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, and that was like the harshest booking I think I've ever seen in my life. If that's Simon, then what he did the other night in the Porto Juventus game was Garfunkel, man. It was just a complete and utter total end of the spectrum. He was just on the opposite end. There's no. I feel like I need to repeat what you two have just said. You tried to say you didn't hear a whistle go, and there's no fans in the stadium. There must be 30 people in the stadium, including players and officials. I'm not comprehending how you thought you were going to get away with explaining that. Odd, really bizarre. Go on, Josh.
Unanimous at this point, isn't it?
I mean, I've got two, probably contentious, both of them. But my first one was Anthony Taylor in the PSG Barcelona game in the Champions League. I still don't understand how that was a penalty. I know it didn't affect the game. Please, somebody explain to me how that was a penalty, because for me, it was not.
Do you want, the reason is, and I had this explained to me because I didn't understand it either. In the new UEFA rulings, intent is not a part of it. So it doesn't matter if he intentionally or unintentionally ran across his body. If there's contact, it's a foul. And that is where the biggest fucking problem lies for me. Because clashes of feet happen all the time. I knew as soon as I saw the replay, I was sat with my dad, and I knew straight away, I was like, they're going to give this. I said, I guarantee you, they're going to VAR and they're going to give it. And that is the sorry, sad state of football right now, that you knew that was a penalty when it absolutely isn't.
For me, that is nowhere a penalty. It's football. Feet are gonna clash. I'm sorry. If it's his upper body, if he's completely bundled him down, like some that we discussed earlier on in the Premier League, I get it. It's a penalty. He's being.
Oh wait, no, fucking no. There's a worse one. There's a worse one than that, and it's the Borussia Dortmund Sevilla game. Did any of you see the fucking Haaland got a penalty given to him after 4 minutes of play had gone by, and he'd already scored a goal. So he'd scored a goal. The referee checked all of the play back. The ball hadn't left the pitch.
That's right.
And he got the goal chalked off him to give the penalty, which the keeper saved.
No.
So Haaland had lost that goal to then give the goalkeeper an advantage, which he saved. But thankfully, he was off his line, so he got retaken, and Haaland scored anyway. But imagine if he'd stayed on his line and Haaland had a perfectly goal chalked off him to get a penalty coming for a cross, similar to the Longley one, where the ball was nowhere near the striker in the first place. The cross was going straight into keeper's hands. It was like, it's not a penalty, but because intent is honest, I knew there was one that I'd forgotten about, and it was that. Fuck off, referees.
It was the fact they disallowed the goal, then they give the penalty, and then the penalty was saved, and then they let a minute of play go by, and then they brought the penalty back because the keeper was off his line. So then they took the penalty again, and then Haaland, who has got a load of jip off the keeper for missing the penalty, gave it back. And then instead of booking the keeper for giving Haaland jip originally, he then booked Haaland for giving him jip back because all the Sevilla players kicked off. It was the biggest. Pearl Harbor was a shit show. That was a fucking calamity. It was fucking awful. I've never seen anything so stupid in all my life. And it took about 8 minutes of the game to figure out. And then another bugbear of ours is they gave about 2 minutes of stoppage time at the end of the game.
Oh,
Collins, I just want to say thank you as well, because you've just reminded me of an even better dickhead of the week that I've got to now mention. So I had two. I'm going to give you a third.
Go.
The second one's just a minor dickhead of the week. And that was Thomas Partey for the Lamella goal because he got nutmegged. So he's forever got to be embarrassed by that. Because I'm sorry, he just let it go through his legs, and he just looked up as if to say, "Shit, that's embarrassing."
Brilliant.
But the best one is, without a shadow of a doubt, and I don't know his name, but the Morecambe manager. I don't know if you've seen or heard.
I've seen this, yeah.
Kevin Elson, right, who's also a bit of a Chester legend. So he used to play for Morecambe for about 8 seasons or something like that.
Oh no, I have seen this. Yeah,
And he got frozen out of the squad by this current Morecambe manager, and he basically made him train on his own, and he just basically, wouldn't play him, made him train on his own, treated him like utter shit, right? So he's now moved to Newport County, this Elson, and he scored against Morecambe in a 3-1 victory at the weekend. And he went running up to the Morecambe manager and he was screaming and giving him verbals in his face. And there's a photograph of it. And he looks menacing because Kevin Nelson's like bald and he just looks so angry and he's screaming in his face. And I just have to say, right, and I mean, we've seen managers treat players badly and face them out of clubs. And we've seen Mourinho do it, with some players, haven't we? But the way that he treated him, he got his just deserves. I just want to say, he's my dickhead. I don't know his name, but he's my dickhead. We'll call him Morecambe manager for just the way that he treated him. I'm glad he got it back. I'm glad he got that in there. Good on him.
And you know what? What was his name? David Ellis. You are our special edition legend of the week.
Yeah, Kevin.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I've only got one, and it's Roy Keane.
What reason is this for? Because there's probably a few that you can choose from.
You know what's coming here.
I know what's
Roy,
coming.
You have got a fantastic gig at the moment on Sky Sports. Yeah? You're adored, right? You've got a fantastic bromance going on with Micah Richards. Life is good. We enjoy watching you every weekend on the TV, right? And then the Celtic job became available, and you just had to throw your name in the hat. And because everyone loves you up there, and because you left United and went to Celtic and played there, and there's all those connections as well, they're probably going to make you the manager. Because if they're going to make Neil Lennon their manager 47 times, why wouldn't they go for Roy Keane? So one, why are you going up to that absolute joke of a league? And two, why are you leaving us all? Yeah. And you'll probably be replaced by Paul Merson or something like that. So we're going to have to suffer with it as well. So for that reason, you are my dickhead of the week. And just to conclude on that, love that picture. Just the most iconic image from 2021. So just good. To wrap up dickhead of the week as well and tie it in with what you lads were saying last week as well when you were praising Rangers. I've said this to you all, but I'm going to say it now so everyone can hear it. Rangers got relegated to the 4th tier of Scottish football, went all the way back up to the Scottish Premiership, and then won the league before any other club apart from Celtic could win the league. Farce, joke, Farmers League, fuck off Scottish football.
Oh, Chris.
Right, Dale. Take the pick.
Yeah, pick from those 17, mate.
Has anyone seen what's going on in this game? I don't know what's happening to Mauricio, but he must be in a right, but they're not even showing him on the cameras here, are they?
So I watched it happen, and basically this looks to be one of the first victims of the referee, of the linesman not flagging for offside to let the play go on. So Salah was offside. He ran through, chipped the goalkeeper, but the goalkeeper took a knee to the face. And he was like, I think he was clean out. He was lying on the floor with his arms up, basically like spark out. And he's gone off with a neck brace and on a stretcher and that. Well, he will be in a second. So, it doesn't look good for Patricio, but hopefully, fingers crossed, he's all right.
And silver lining, hopefully they change his fucking rule for the betterment of players.
Yeah.
Because it's an absolute bollocks rule. If he's offside, he's offside. Don't wait.
Yeah, what do linesmen actually do if they're not calling offsides when they happen? I don't understand what their job is.
No idea. Anyway, Dale,
they haven't got one anymore.
No, I was leaning towards the Porto player, and then Josh kindly reminded me or us of the incident at the Morecambe game, and I believe the Morecambe's coach is Derek Adams. I believe his name is. So I just purely for the fact that the situation surrounded the player and the manager and what happened there, Kevin Ellison, right? Your legend of the week. And Derek Adams, dickhead of the week.
Get in. Go on, Kev.
You got like a moral victory when Dale picks your dickhead of the week. I was well happy last week.
I'll be very happy in work tomorrow. I'll have a big grin on my face all day.
What a strong ending to the podcast.
Yeah, fantastic that. For those that have stuck with us, whether you've joined us for 1 minute or the what feels like 4 hours where we've been live, but it's probably only been about an hour and a half. Thank you very much. Follow us on all socials, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, fucking TikTok soon to be, I guess. Find us dancing in our shorts, you know that's the content you want to see. At We Are 4M1T. Find us on YouTube. We are 4Max1T. I can't do it, Chris. Find us on YouTube. 4Max1T. Anyone else got any parting words?
No, good to be back.
Yeah, nah. Get well soon, Rui Patricio. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, get well soon, Rui Patricio.
I just want to add, the Cheltenham Festival is starting tomorrow, and I'm just going to lose all my money, so, yeah.
Excellent work.
Knowing you, mate.
What is it, 350 horses will lose, and all of my bets will be placed on all of those horses.
Follow us at We Are 4M1T for Dale's Cheltenham picks. And everyone will be picking you as Dick of the Week next weekend, mate.
Yeah. 100%.
In that case, then, from myself, Dale, Josh, Chris, Lee, We Are 4M1T. Thank you very much for joining us, and good night.
Adios.